So I was trying to come up with a good way to explain the increase in sound in the before and after clips. So the meter that I'm using measures in decibels. Now a decibel is a measure of sound intensity. Now what you need to know is that for every 3 decibel increase in a sound, it means the sound energy has doubles. So for example, if I have a sound that goes from 100 to 103 decibels, that means that the energy of the sound has doubled. Now what does that actually mean for your hearing? Well, it turns out that it actually means a whole lot of nothing in this case, because that's not how your ears actually perceive this sound. So doing some research online, I found a quick equation to calculate decibels into how much louder your ears would perceive the noise. And basically this is what I came up with. So on the top left of the whiteboard here, I've got the sound intensity at idle. At idle with the stock exhaust, it was 79 decibels, and after it was 97 decibels. With a full throttle snap, the stock exhaust was 110 decibels maximum, and the modified exhaust was 122 decibels maximum. So at idle, you had an increase of 18 decibels, and at a throttle snap, you had an increase of 12 decibels. So using this equation, and it's really simple, so all you're going to do is you're going to use 2 as your base, and you are raising that to the difference in sound divided by 10. So sound after minus sound before divided by 10, and that's what you're using as your exponent. So for idle, 18 divided by 10 is 1.8. 2 raised to the power of 1.8 gives you roughly 3.5. Over here, 2 raised to the power of 1.2 gives you an increase of roughly 2.4. So basically what this means is at idle, the Barker's exhaust is 3.5 times louder, your perceived hearing now, so it's 3.5 times louder than the stock exhaust. And at a full throttle snap, it's almost 2.5 times louder. Now, just for a little bit of extra perspective, I did do this same test with my Honda Rincon. It's a completely stock bike. I'm not going to say that the Grizzly is loud stock, but it's definitely not as quiet as my Honda is. So I did do this same test with my Honda, and I'm going to show you guys that clip first, just for a bit of perspective. So let's check it out. Alright, so I would consider the Honda a fairly quiet machine. According to the sound meter, at idle, the Honda idled roughly at 75 decibels, and at a throttle snap, we got 103 decibels. Now below the red line here is how much louder the stock Grizzly is and the modified Grizzly than the Honda. So at idle, a stock Grizzly is 1.3 times louder than the Honda is. And at a throttle snap, it's 1.6 times louder. Here's where it gets interesting though. Check out the modified Grizzly. At idle, a modified Grizzly, that Barker's exhaust is 4.6 times louder than the Honda. And at a throttle snap, it's 3.7 times louder than the Honda. So just to give you a little bit better perspective, it's loud. It's definitely loud. And it is something just to consider. I live in a neighborhood that the houses are fairly spread far apart, and all my neighbors are pretty cool, and nobody says anything about me, riding around every now and again with the stock exhaust. I'm afraid to do that with the modified exhaust just because of how loud it really is. And this was the best way that I could try to explain to you guys just how much louder it really is in person. I hope this helps. I hope this gives some kind of a better look into just how loud this exhaust is. Now let's go check out the before and after acceleration data. Coming up first, stock Grizzly.
There's a car coming.
For testing, I use this little guy. It's called Draggy, and it's a GPS receiver that syncs up with an app on your phone, and it just logs acceleration times. So the nice thing about this is Draggy guarantees accuracy up to 1/10 of a second, as long as signal strength is good. Now the nice thing is that the phone will tell you if signal strength is good or not, so it takes the guesswork out of a good result or not. So I mounted this on the front of the bike and went out to the flattest road I could find by my house, and I did 2 runs, same stretch of road in both directions, and averaged the results together to get an accurate acceleration time. So I wrote all that down on the whiteboard here. I did 10-mile-an-hour increments all the way up to 60 miles an hour, and I also included 20 to 40 miles an hour because I feel like that's a very, very applicable speed to trail riding. You know, you're kind of cruising along at 20 miles an hour, so come out of a corner, punch it, get up to 40, slow back down. So I included that as well. So I've got my first run in the first column, I've got my second run coming in the opposite direction in this column, and these are the averaged out results. So this is the before data. Let's go check it out after the results. So now that I've got a slightly more appropriately sized whiteboard, let's take a look at some numbers. So I've got 3 tables on here. I've got the results from the run with the stock machine, I've got the results from the run after the modifications, and I have the comparison down below. Now, like I said before, I had done 2 runs, 1 in each direction, and then averaged them out. That way I could get the most accurate results. So column 1, I have run 1, I've got run 2, and I've got the average of the 2 of them. I've done the same for both runs. So I took the numbers from the average column from the stock table, the average column from the modified table, pasted them on this table down here, and then using these numbers I can determine the amount I have improved in acceleration. So from 0 to 10 miles an hour, the exhaust made an 18.6% improvement. From 0 to 20, it was a 12.5% improvement. 0 to 30 is an 8.7% improvement. 0 to 40 is an 11.7% improvement. 0 to 50 is 14.3%. And 0 to 60 is 20.6%. The 20 to 40 mile an hour came in at an 11.3% improvement. So taking a closer look, you can see that it seems like on the bottom end there was a larger improvement. It kind of tapered off towards the middle a little bit at 8.7% after starting from 18.6%. And then as we got higher in the range, it seemed to make more of a difference again, getting all the way to a 20.6% improvement on the 0 to 60 time. That's significant. That took me from a roughly 12-second 0 to 60 time to a 9.5-second 0 to 60 time. That's huge. Averaging all these numbers out, except for the 20 to 40, my average rate of improvement from 0 to 60 is 14.4% better, which is fantastic for bolt-on parts and basically a couple hours worth of your time. There's a couple things I would like to point out. For the testing, I did the testing on the stock machine and the modified machine a day apart from each other. The temperatures though were pretty similar. There was only a few degrees difference, so I don't think temperature really played a role in my times at all. One thing I would like to bring to your guys' attention is take a look at the run 1 and run 2 on the modified table. My results are super consistent. Now I did more than 2 runs, I was just having too much fun out there, and I mean it was dead consistent every single time. The machine ran fantastic the whole time. It ran clean, it ran crisp, it was a lot snappier, it was way rowdier than it was before, and it was way more fun. Now just looking back at the 14.4% total improvement, I could tell you that the seat of the pants feel is extremely significant. I mean, it feels like a completely different machine. So for my final thoughts on this, I hands down would absolutely buy this kit again in a heartbeat. Everything went together really nice. Everything worked well. The machine ran fantastic. It was just, everything was great. I love the improvements that it made. It really is a nicely put together kit. It's definitely a little on the loud side, so if you have neighbors that are kind of a pain with this kind of stuff, I would say you're definitely going to piss them off with this exhaust system on it. However, I think for trail riding, for the track or whatever, I think it's going to be totally fine. I want to thank you guys again for checking out the video. I really do appreciate it. I do put a lot of time and effort into making these to bring you guys a good product. So if you would, please leave me a comment. Let me know how I did. Let me know what I can do to improve. And let me know what you'd like to see in the future. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Wait, don't go anywhere. You didn't think that was clickbait, right?